Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we're going to continue our look at the Warning's Mayday in the Making documentary. Today we're up to episode 3. Probably going to cover 3 and 4, and then save 5 and 6 for later, unless we're really on a roll. The first part was just an introduction to the whole situation and the people involved. And then the second part was a little bit about their roots, about how they came to be the musicians they are today. And so now I think we're going to start looking at the actual process of writing and recording for what was the Mayday EP at this point. And of course, those songs later ended up on Error. So without further ado, let's continue.
Describe each other. Okay, let's do Pal first.
Creative.
Outspoken.
She's a spark.
She can also be a bit loud.
It's the life of the party.
Energetic.
A great drummer, great singer.
She really drives what's happening.
She goes completely on passion.
Pal is such a fan of music.
Drummer, singer, writer, composer.
Alpha, right in your face.
But she's so lovable.
I'm gonna take everything as a compliment.
Yeah.
You. How would I describe myself though?
LA is so humble and so talented. She's technically incredible.
She can hang with the best of them.
Very bold.
She's observant and very persistent.
You are scary at times, but that is very useful.
Yo, Allie with the eye rolls. She's the most reserved, but to be honest, she may be the most animated.
You. Danny, you're very organized.
Older sister, protector. The same as she asks of herself, which is a lot, she asks of the team.
Disciplined, persistent.
She's a sweetheart.
She's honestly super nice. I don't know how she does it.
She's the heart.
Very, very passionate.
She's a boss.
Danny is a powerhouse front woman.
I mean, she's up there with the top voices of female rockers.
The beacon of light in the darkness.
Oh my god, thank you guys.
See?
So nice.
And I'm scary. Jumping from covers to writing our own music I think it came very naturally.
Pao has been writing songs since she was I don't know, maybe even 5. We would be making lemonade. She was like, making lemonade.
We started writing as a little experiment, and our first EP was basically those little experiments.
Our main focus for writing is rock and roll, but that doesn't mean that we don't listen or learn from any other genres.
I listen to a lot of K-pop, and I also listen to a lot of Japanese rock since it's so different. I listen to a lot of classical music, I listen to a lot of alternative music, I listen to a lot of K-pop.
I love rock and roll for its energy, and I wouldn't change that for our band, but it's great also to learn from all the different types of music that there's all around the world.
Good. I really liked it. The chorus is really good, and I think that one of the best things about this is that you put really quick melodies that go up and down very quickly, and in Korean language, that works so well because they have so many syllables.
Creatively, it's all them. The way they work is they start writing and composing, and then they get together, then they rehearse, and they don't show us anything.
As for what we speak about in our songs, well, most of the times they come from Pao's brain, and we're just that's genius, and we kind of tweak it out and make the song appropriate to that feeling that we're talking about.
So I usually just sit on the piano and I just play something until something comes out. And then I show Danny and Ali the song. I try to pitch it as best as I can, so they're like, oh my god, that's a great song, let's work on it.
Pao's the one who has that muscle, that creativity to just create little words out of nowhere.
We start working on it. We start adding the drums, the guitars, the bass, and we're all very involved in that process. And it's really fun because I know I play the bass, but I don't do my bass parts alone. Pao helps me and Danny helps me, and it's the same for the drums, the vocals, and the guitars.
Since we are very, very opinionated,
That's interesting.
We like to be in each and every part of the process. So we're doing bass lines, we're all there. Each second is important.
We're all very involved in every part of the process, which I think makes every song unique, and it sounds like us. Honestly, we get along so well, but the only moments where we have fights is when we're writing, because we have such different opinions about what a song should be. It's up to votes. 2 people, you win.
We work really, really well because we have this honesty to our communication.
We do have like that clear line between like bandmates and sisters. You need to look at it as like what's best for the band and not like, oh my god, like you're turning your back on me, like I'm your sister. No, like we're working.
Seeing them in the studio interact as bandmates and as sisters was really cool. It's just such a deeper level of connection. They know exactly what they need to do to support each other in all situations. When someone's cutting a vocal, when someone's cutting a guitar, like if it's going well or if there's hesitation, there's just like that sister connection was so cool to see that level of support.
They're sisters. I don't know how else to put it. It's like obvious that they're sisters. They have each other's back. They finish each other's sentences, or they say the same thing at the same time.
When you're in a band, it's like you can break up. If this band were to disband, like they're still gonna be sisters. And no matter how heated or, you know, how big of a deal any of this is to any of us, I don't think it's more important than their family to them.
I'm so glad that we started writing our own music because there's like nothing that I love more. That's what we like doing the most, you know, inspiring people with our own music.
And I have found out that my like comfort zone is writing from the heart. It's literally, if I'm feeling a very strong emotion, the song comes out.
Yeah, it was good to learn. They listen to all kinds of music, I guess, or a lot of different kinds.
Yeah, I kind of was under that impression since I saw them playing classical music as kids, because that is one of the basic genres that helps you kind of break into any genre. If you have a good grasp on classical, then you can do just about anything.
Yeah.
From a songwriting standpoint.
It's true. Yeah, I knew they were into classical music in the beginning. Yeah, it's just interesting to hear that they listen to all these, these other genres. Like, I guess K-pop is what I noticed them mentioning most of all.
Yeah, that's a big one for them, for sure. Yeah, they listen to music that we don't ever listen to, which makes sense because they're probably more plugged into the stuff like K-pop. Yeah. I mean, their friends, things their friends are listening to, they're going to have a better idea about. And usually people in their teens have a better idea of brand new music that's selling. And K-pop is definitely selling around the globe right now. It's pretty hot. So, yeah, not surprising. Frankly, the way that they described their process, I can't figure out a way to improve it from what they described. You know, the fact that they're all into it so much. And the fact that they are sisters, so they can really dig into their opinions, and it won't be that bad, I mean, band comes second, I'm sure, with them. I mean, they've pretty much got a rock-solid way of putting songs together. And it sounds like Pau is usually the spark. And I can see it, man. Pau has, she's bursting with creativity. Seems like the perfect outlet, one of them, for her. So it makes sense, So there's great motivation. And the fact that they write each other's parts too, that was interesting to hear about, because that is something you don't generally hear about in democratically run bands. There's some bands where you'll get a fist fight going, just trying to say, hey, play that one note differently, But not in their case. It's like a biosphere, or something. They've got this contained unit that is just perfect for growing and building their creative process, writing great songs, and then going out and doing the tours right. I'm sure they're still learning with every tour new ways to make that even better. That's about as good as you can do, in terms of the planning for writing and recording.
It was interesting to hear about the writing process, too. Each one of them writes something, I guess, and then they get together and they take what each of them wrote and try to make it into one song. And sometimes they'll change some things, but, it sounds like it works really well.
Yeah, they're all receptive to each other's ideas. Well, cool. All right. Well, so that was episode 3, the process, and that's going to take us into episode 4, which is entering the rock world. All right. Buckle up. Here we go.
Technology played a huge part in our band. We became known because of a YouTube video.
Social media is such a big part for us as a band, and without social media, we wouldn't have reached all those people who listen to our music right now.
I honestly don't know how they do what they do, but I know that the numbers don't lie.
When it comes to going viral at the age that they did, they've had a head start building this social media and online presence that people would pay millions to obtain.
That's an amazing thing to see. I mean, to have this type of fan dedication and loyalty this early is, it's really impressive. And it speaks to the fact that their music really touches people.
When you start out in music, the first thing that you think about is not really like, how am I going to manage my social media? It's the last thing that you're thinking of.
When I first met them, they had already gone viral because they were uploading videos of them doing covers and practicing music so that their grandparents could see it.
When the attention came in, it was like pretty shocking.
What we did as a team was land it with a proper strategy and a vision. We all talk about what we're doing in social media every day.
It is like a lot to do, but honestly, like it helps us a lot.
Thank you, patrons. Shout out to all of you. You are awesome.
This community and friendships have been, forged all over the world.
We're always thinking of new ways to create new content for them.
And even if it just was like one person, it means something to them. That's an incredible feeling.
I think that they just feel like more responsibility to their audience, to their fans. They're constantly evolving and working more for them.
It can kind of be intimidating as our fan base grows. It's very hard not to think about what other people might think.
To think like, I kind of need to be perfect. I mean, being a woman in rock is a whole thing.
We have gone through a lot of different experiences, mostly on stage, where we would get these looks like, what are these little girls gonna do?
Like, our treatment was sometimes very, very different. Like, the staff would treat you different, the bands would treat you different. I remember going at festivals when I was like 11. People would look at us like, oh, what are they gonna do here? Suddenly we started playing and everyone was just like shocked by what we did, and I was like, yeah. People really don't expect a lot out of you because they're not used to seeing women on these stages.
It is very nerve-wracking to go out in front of everyone and be that vulnerable. You see, like, this is me, this is what I do. Do you like it?
It's not easy for them being young, being female in a rock genre, and I think they're gonna bring change to that.
The most important thing in what we do is to just stay true to ourselves.
I'm really proud that this is a group of girls. I think there's so much talented female musicians out there, but historically they've been underrepresented in rock and roll. I don't really know what the reason is, but if I can be a part of helping to bring that energy to the forefront, then that's what I want to do.
In such a male-dominated field, to see not only three women but three sisters playing rock music, it was awesome. Also, being a father of two daughters, it was inspiring to see that too. It's something I wanted them to see.
We step up our game just to prove we belong here.
Rock and roll and music in general is for everyone to enjoy.
It doesn't matter who's playing the music. If you like it and if it's good and if you think it's good, that's what matters.
They are the future of rock and roll.
Playing rock and roll, like, there's no energy equal to that.
To see like all these people that are from all around the world, some of them are older, some of them are younger, how they all just connect like through the power of music.
And it's so fun to see people having fun with you. It's just like a big party.
When young girls reach out to us, it's the most satisfying feeling ever.
You can feel it when people tell you what your music means to them. It's such an indescribable feeling.
Like when someone comes up to you in the meet and greet and they're like, I started playing the drums because of you. Oh my God, like you feel like crying. It shows that anyone can do what we're doing.
It's easy for people to blow up on the internet and kind of not act like it's a thing, but these girls, they dedicate time every day to try and make sure that someone in their fan group or their whole fan group has an experience.
There are so many people that follow us and listen to our music. If I am just able to keep doing what I'm doing right now and keep touching like people's hearts this way, I'm happy.
I really love what I do, and I'm very grateful that all of you have given me the chance to prove it and to be it and to share it with you.
right. Well, that's one thing that's interesting they mentioned is that, and that we've probably known for a while, it was rock and roll used to be a very male-dominated sport.
Of course, yeah.
They're kind of revolutionizing it by being an all-female band and just playing to the degree that they do.
Well, yeah, the whole world has changed, and I think in kind of recent times, I don't remember seeing. I mean, at this point, we're covering a lot of bands that are all female, which is not something I ever would have expected, say, last year, because I didn't know there were so many. There's lots now, which is fantastic. And note that pretty much all of them and all of music out there, I mean, everybody out there trying to make a living in music is using social media, which is a fairly new thing probably for much of their audience. And also, they have a lot of fans that are our age or more or less. I mean, they've actually got a pretty wide swath of age range for their fans, I notice, which is a sign of good music. But just for the older ones, I mean, let's take a little accounting of what things were like if you were trying to break into the music business, into the rock world in, say, the early 80s. There's no social media. What you're doing is you're making tapes and maybe getting a manager. That's your best bet, actually, is to get a team together in the music business. You got to get a manager, an agent, somebody that will do your bookings for you. There's several functions. You usually would have a team of a few people, and you'd try to get somebody that already has an in with the record labels, where they at least know them, and they'll approach when they have an act that they think is good. But this social media thing, I mean, that wasn't a thing. What you would do maybe is print your own record, and people might actually buy it. That was great, There were so few female-oriented bands back then. In fact, really, if you get into rock music, I'm trying to think, there were a few, but not many. I mean, Fanny in the early 70s, late 60s, and Ace of Cups out of San Francisco, which we mentioned in one of our episodes. And what else? I mean, the Go-Go's came along in 1981. They were a little underground for a year or two before. The Bangles, a.k.a. the Bangs. I mean, there was the Runaways. I remember at one point I made a conscious decision, said we're going to start featuring at least find somebody who's got a female either running the show, or it's an all-female band, or just something, because I realized at one point we were covering all classic rock at this point, and it was a struggle to find artists that were female because there just weren't very many. They couldn't punch through. I mean, you had your Linda Ronstadt, but
Heart comes to mind, I guess. It's
Heart, yep, Heart. Yeah, and no, we covered all those bands at one point or another on the channel. Well, I don't think we covered the Go-Go's, but everybody else. We tried Fanny, and that got blocked. But the thing is, now it's much, much easier to find them. And yet, I mean, it's good to have artists like The Warning they seem poised for stardom. I mean, bigger stardom, making a bigger impact in the music industry at large. And what a story, it should be inspirational. I hope it brings more women into the genre. Rock music really needed a shot in the arm anyway, because for a while there, it was under serious assault. I mean, it might have still existed, but it was hard to get a hit out of it or get a lot of notice. And they seem to be doing that a little bit. So the signs are good. Just going over both their process of writing and then how they got into the music business. It's pretty fascinating. Again, just to recap, I think the process, I can't figure out a way to make it better just from what they described. It's like, yeah, that's about the ideal situation there. That's fantastic. And then the fact that they're doing so well, even though I'm sure they got taken not seriously at all. I mean, just imagine at a festival you would see, if you'd go to see one today, Adrian, I mean, if you just saw several teenage girls standing there with instruments who are maybe not full grade, well, 11's not even, so you're not going to take them seriously. Which is a shame, but then again, the comeuppance comes swiftly with those guys.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed. I remember when we first saw the Crazy Train video. I mean, they were small.
Yeah.
But they did the song pretty well.
Yeah, they did. They did.
I was blown away by that.
Yeah, you remember, I mean, Enter Sandman, about the same time period, so crazy amazing.
And they did their own arrangement of Enter Sandman at one point, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the fact that they can work so well together, that is a gift. A lot of bands, they break up because they cannot get along. Fist fights in the studio or whatever, or on stage. Because the tour, man, that'll take your temper and flare it up. That's a lot of work in a short period of time, a lot of boredom, followed by getting up on stage and having a blast, and then all the work involved, and the crew and everybody, and it's a huge undertaking, and it taxes people. I mean, I think it shortens lives if you don't do it right. But all signs point to they're doing it right. They're going in eyes wide open, and they're making rational decisions, not emotional ones. What more could you ask for? So anyway, kudos. We'll continue this in the very near future, finish it off, and then our thoughts about the whole thing once we're done.
I guess what you mentioned before, how well they work together and everything. I mean, I'm still pretty impressed, even though I've seen a lot of the videos. I'm still kind of blown away by how professional they are, how well they work together.
Yeah. Yeah, really. I mean, someone should write a book, in the organization. Somebody should really do that because, I mean, there are probably good lessons here for just running your own business, let alone being a rock musician as young women, very young women. So good on them. All right, we'll continue this soon. All right, folks. Meanwhile, if you have suggestions for us, please leave them below. All right, give us your own thoughts on this documentary. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed our presentation, please subscribe. All right. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right. Take care.
See you all later.